Shadow Priest is in a league of its own. This mysterious and cerebral range damage dealer combines damage over time with explosive burst windows, all tied together through a really cool resource system, Insanity, that rewards smart planning and precise timing. You're not just casting spells, you're channeling dark physic forces, bending reality, and unraveling minds. You'll need to maintain Vampiric Touch and Shadow Word of Pain across multiple enemies, while managing procs and cooldowns to unleash powerful abilities like Devouring Plague and Void Form. In AoE, positioning Shadow Crash effectively becomes a minigame of its own. It's a hybrid playstyle that demands high awareness, especially when syncing burst with abilities like Power Infusion, which during its peak in Dragonflight made Shadow Priest a sought-after powerhouse. To be honest, it took me an entire season to really get good at it, and that speaks volumes. If you enjoy juggling timers, keeping pressure on the battlefield, and mastering a spec with a high skill ceiling, then Shadow Priest might just be your kind of chaos. From a lore perspective, the priest has always been a key figure in World of Warcraft. It's no coincidence that Anduin, the king of the Alliance, is a priest himself. And although he's probably not a Shadow Priest, there's little doubt he could tap into the void if he truly wished, especially after witnessing his darker revelations in recent expansions. Shadow Priest, however, stands apart from their holy and disciplined counterparts. Instead of channeling the light, they embrace the opposite: entropy, control, and the slow unraveling of sanity. It's hardly surprising that one of the most compelling antagonists of the current saga, Xal'atath, is essentially a Shadow Priest. She appears wherever she pleases, whispers into mortal ears to achieve her goals. Shadow Priests have always been those who stared into the abyss too long and learned to whisper when it whispers back. Their power isn't built on healing or protection. It's about twisting minds, breaking reality, and letting the darkness seep into every crack. Abilities like Void Form, Mind Flay, and Vampiric Touch aren't just spells. They're physical manifestations of a fractured psyche weaponized against their enemies. And the game's lore reinforces this fantasy too. Even Xal'atath, one of the most enigmatic and dangerous entities in World of Warcraft, is closely intertwined with the Shadow Priest archetype. All of this makes it clear that this path isn't just powerful, it's seductively terrifying. This season, Shadow Priests aren't topping the charts. Not like they did in Dragonflight. They were dominating the S tier for a long time. They were highly sought after for their burst and power infusion synergy. Currently, with Disciplined Priest leading the healer meta, Shadow has taken a step backward in popularity, especially due to its underwhelming AoE performance in Mythic Plus content. That said, they might do a lot better in Season 3, where tier sets amplify the Shadow Priest toolkit, and they still bring some useful support. Power Word Fortitude grants a valuable 5% stamina boost, which can be a real asset in high keys. Utility spells like Mind Soothe and Mass Dispel are situationally excellent. Mind Soothe in particular can help you skip trash pulls in ways no other class can. However, outside of those tools, priests struggle with utility compared to other classes. A 45-second interrupt and a clunky AoE CC like Psychic Scream don't help that case. In terms of group value, Shadow's contribution often hinges on whether or not it's pumping out top tier DPS. Fortunately, performance trends change. When Shadow is doing well, it's back on the radar and people start begging for power infusion all over again. While it does come with a steep learning curve, a dedicated Shadow Priest can deliver some of the most satisfying burst windows in the game. It's not always meta, and this spec is not for everyone, but in coordinated groups, a skilled player can easily hold their own against the best DPS specs in the game. The Shadow spec of the Priest is built on a philosophy where every button press has weight. You balance damage over time pressure, insanity management, and burst windows, all while channeling the void's corruptive power. For players who enjoy juggling priorities, reacting to procs, and controlling the flow of combat with precision, Shadow is endlessly rewarding. What truly sets it apart this expansions are the hero talents, which define two distinct playstyles. Void Weaver. This tree leans fully into Void Form, Insanity Generation, and Psychic Bombardment. It's a fast-paced, reactive playstyle built around weaving in extra Void Bolts, empowering your rotation, and pushing the fantasy of Void-fueled chaos. It enhances the traditional Shadow Priest toolkit, but with even more Void magic flair and bigger burst windows. In Season 3, the tier set supercharges your Void Blast, hurling devastating cosmic voids that explode for massive damage. This is probably my favorite of the two hero trees. I just love seeing those huge flashy cosmic voids lighting up the screen. Archon. The Archon hero tree draws you even deeper into the powers of light and shadow. making your power word Fortitude even stronger. Your halo now orbits around you and returns, sending out extra pulses that boost its healing and damage for your party. Plus, with the new tier set, will generate even more insanity. While Power Surge is active, every 2 casts of Devouring Plague adds an extra halo effect, doubling its impact. You can already see the benefit where this hero tree can help out the healer. Shadow Priest isn't for everyone, but for the right kind of player, it's perfect. Its playstyle is cerebral, rhythmic, and deeply rewarding. It demands focus, timing, and the willingness to master complexity. But in return, it offers one of the most thematically rich and uniquely satisfying experiences in the game. If you're drawn to specs that mix classic dot weaving with modern burst windows, layered with the eerie allure of cosmic madness, Shadow delivers that in full. It's not just about damage, it's about dominating the battlefield with the force of your mind. Shadow Priest offers identity, nuance, and power for those bold enough to embrace the void.